Hello and welcome to News Hour on Voice of the People TV. I am Vivian Oguche. Before we begin, kindly visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. First, the headlines. Tinubu says Wike opening Abuja for businesses and housing as well as investment. Shettima commends Nigeria-Brazil $1 billion Agric deal and strategic alliance. Also, Senate extends implementation bill till September. And Atiku questions Tinubu's claim on Chicago schoolmate. CDS decries lack of national census and urges ICT-driven figures. On the foreign scene, Israel-Iran truce likely after Trump's outburst. In business news, MPA to spend $778.46 billion on port infrastructure and technology. In sports news, Nwabali update about Eagles World Cup chances. And in entertainment news, Cubana Chief Priest drags Helen Ati to court. And now on the news in detail, President Bola Tinubu has commended Nyesom Wike-led Federal Capital Territory Administration, saying it is opening the territory for business, housing and investment. Tinubu spoke in Abuja on Tuesday while inaugurating the right-hand service carriageway of the Inter-Northern Expressway from Ring Road 3 to Outer Northern Expressway. Represented by the Deputy Senate President Barau Jibrin, the President described the newly constructed INEX as a critical piece of the Federal Territory Master Plan. He explained that the road was designed to ease traffic flow, enhance connectivity, and improve urban mobility for millions of commuters, residents, and businesses in the city. Commending Wike's vision and commitment to quality and timely execution of projects, Tinubu said the minister has contributed to something larger than the roadway, which is the future of the capital city. He described the inaugurated carriageway as a vital symbol of progress, noting that as traffic volume increases in the FCT and across the satellite towns, the continuous expansion and maintenance of critical routes has become imperative. While still on life-enhancing projects, Vice President Kashim Shettima has commended the over $1 billion Nigeria-Brazil Green Imperative Agricultural Initiative as a milestone in both countries' renewed strategic alliance, grounded in mutual respect and practical cooperation. Speaking during the opening session of the second Nigeria-Brazil Strategic Dialogue Mechanism at the Presidential Villa in Abuja, the Vice President said the long-standing relationship between both countries was not defined by geography but by common ambition. According to Shettima, the partnership represented a shared dream between two major democracies committed to practical outcomes and mutual prosperity. He explained that Brazil and Nigeria are two economies with immense natural and human capital, the right to dream, and the ability to build. Emphasizing the transformational impact of the Green Imperative project being jointly developed by both nations, Shettima said the initiative aims to deploy over $1 billion to deliver mechanized farming equipment, training, and service centers across Nigeria. This project will create jobs, raise productivity, and help secure Nigeria's ambition to feed itself and others, the Vice President added. And for a second time, the Senate has extended the implementation of the capital component of the 2024 budget, this time to December 31, 2025. This followed a resolution at plenary on Tuesday after an amendment of the appropriation bill to accommodate the extension. The Deputy Senate President Barau Jibrin, who presided at the plenary, announced the extension after it passed the third expedited reading and passage. The bill was considered at the Senate Committee on Supply, where the chairman of Senate Committee on Appropriation, Olamilekun Adiola, explained that the extension was required to allow the government complete ongoing projects captured in the budgets. He also claimed that the Nigerian government does not have enough resources to capture the expenditures proposed in the budget. In another development, the Senate has urged the federal government to investigate the recent flood in Mokwa, Niger State, and similar incidents in other parts of the country. According to the upper chamber, this is the view to providing long-term solutions, including improved and sustainable flood control infrastructure and early warning systems to forestall future occurrence. The resolutions followed a motion by Senator Peter Gia co-sponsored by no fewer than 20 others during plenary. The Senate further urged the federal government to prioritize prompt execution of the relief packages promised during the Vice President Kashim Shettima's visit to the flood scene. The upper legislative chamber also observed a minute's silence in honor of those who lost their lives to the flood. And away from the Senate now, the Ministry of Solid Minerals Development says that 90% of its staff has been onboarded to the target setting system platform under the Federal Civil Services Performance Management System. This was disclosed in Abuja by the Ministry of Solid Minerals Development at Delhi when he received the heads of service of the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory on a study visit. He explained that it is aimed at improving productivity, accountability, and service delivery across the ministries, departments, and agencies. The visit was intended to assess the implementation and effectiveness of the Civil Services Performance Management System, which is a strategic tool introduced to replace the outdated Annual Performance Evaluation Report for enhanced civil service efficiency. According to him, the TSS platform has significantly improved efficiency in operations across the ministry. He explained that the system allows staff to be registered and trained and their performance digitally monitored. And now the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, has warned that the absence of accurate population data is undermining Nigeria's security and global credibility. Musa, who spoke during an advocacy visit by the chairman of the Senate Committee on Army, Abdulaziz Adwa, and members of the civil society group Yaga Africa, raised concerns over government's failure to conduct a national census. The CDS emphasized that addressing foundational issues such as census and porous borders is essential for strengthening national security, adding that it will also make other countries take Nigeria seriously. Underscoring the need for a comprehensive national census, he suggested that modern technology and ICT could be leveraged to reduce the financial and logistical burden of continuous voter and population registrations. Musa also expressed concerns at Nigeria's voter apathy, describing it as a major setback to democratic growth. He described increased civic participation as key to advancing good governance, strengthening democracy, improving security, and reducing crime rates. Now, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has faulted President Bola Tinubu's claim that Belarusian businessman Alexander Zingman was his schoolmate at Chicago State University. Questioning the president's claim, Atiku said that Zingman was 13 years when the president claimed that he graduated. Tinubu had said on Monday during the launch of the renewed Hope Mechanization program in Abuja that Zingman was a very good friend and neighbor during his time at CSU. However, in a statement, Atiku's media office described Tinubu's comment as highly questionable, noting that Zingman would have been too young to attend university at the time Tinubu claimed to have studied there. Atiku also raised fresh concerns over Tinubu's association with Zingman, citing multiple international media reports linking the businessman to questionable transactions in Africa's mining sector and arms trade. According to the Belarusian businessman, whose name features prominently in controversial dealings across Africa, including allegations of arms trafficking and financial improprieties in Zimbabwe and the Democratic Republic of Congo, is listed in various reports as being born in 1966. Well, away from that story now, the National Assembly has scheduled nationwide public hearings for July 4 and 5 as part of the ongoing efforts to review Nigeria's 1999 Constitution. The Senate and House of Representatives say the exercise will allow citizens across the 6 geopolitical zones to contribute to proposed amendments. However, some Nigerians are urging the government to focus on pressing issues like insecurity and economic hardship before pursuing constitutional amendments. Voice of the People TV's Matthew Gunswada has more in this report.
The Senate has scheduled a 2-day nationwide public hearing on constitutional amendment set to hold on the 4th and 5th of July 2025. The hearings will take place simultaneously across Nigeria's 6 geopolitical zones in Lagos, Enugu, Ikotekpene, Jos, Maiduguri, and Kano, focusing on pressing issues such as local government autonomy, state police, electoral reforms, gender inclusion, and devolution of powers. This was disclosed in an official statement from the Office of the Deputy Senate President, Barau Jibrin, who also chairs the Senate Constitution Review Committee. The committee says the aim is to promote wide-ranging civic participation and make the Constitution truly reflective of citizens' demands. Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu, who also chairs the House Committee on Constitution Review, further emphasized the need for public ownership of the constitutional review process, stating that it is a national call for Nigerians to shape how they are governed. As Voice of the People Television, we are on the street to get the opinion of Nigerians towards this proposed legislation.
The fact is that amendment of constitution, it have not been today that people have been saying about how to amend the constitution so that every part of the country will have an equal right. You know, there's no equal right. Even though I don't know how I have much to say, but I don't think I will put much, because I have already told you one certain day that I don't believe in one Nigeria because it is not working. But I believe the equal right, if earlier been done, would have been the solution to this country, when everybody have an equal right to the leadership, the rulership, and down to the stream. But there is nothing like that. So Nigeria have not been one, and that is why things are not working. So whether the amendment of constitution or not, the place they have to address is everyone equal right. You understand? Because now, when Buhari was there, he carried along all his people. Tinubu have entered there, he carried along his people. So there is no equal right. The other people, what are their position? What are the positions of other people or other tribes? So it's not right. So the only thing is to put things right, that everybody will have an equal right for the government and for every other offices in Nigeria.
What I think that should be done better for now is for us to review the 2027 Constitution and make sure that it is being guided and make sure that it is well. And so that when we begin to vote, we know that as we vote, we know that our vote is actually counted. You understand me? So first of all, review the Constitution, amend it, and let us know what we are doing. That's the way forward of this nation. Aside from that, I don't think this nation is going anywhere.
I think creating a provision for youths to be able to do businesses and learn a skills, and secondly, bribery and corruptions. Because without, that's the two major things Nigeria need for us to be better.
Well, I am one of the masses. To me, if the constitution should be amended, it's fine. If it can be amended to be favorable to the masses, like we need liberty, we need fairness, we need justice, because the right situation on ground now, if the constitution should be amended, I think government will look at the angle of, okay, where my people suffer, like it should not be amended to just to favor the people on top, because masses now in Nigeria, they are facing something extra. So it's good for the constitution to be amended, but in a way that will be favorable to the masses.
As Nigeria moves towards a new phase of constitutional reforms, all eyes are on the public hearing set to begin in July. However, the big question remains, will Nigerians use this opportunity to redefine their nation's future? But only time will tell. Matthew Ogunswada, reporting for Voice of the People TV.
Well, you're still watching News Hour on Voice of the People TV. When we return, PDP governors, NWC hold closed-door meeting with INEC. Stay with us for this and more stories after this break. Welcome back, everyone. Now, the People's Democratic Party Governors Forum on Tuesday held a troubleshooting meeting with the party's National Working Committee and the Independent National Electoral Commission ahead of their upcoming NEC meeting. Some of the governors at the meeting were Bala Mohammed of Bauchi State, Seyi Makinde of Oyo State, Caleb Mufwang of Plateau State, and Dauda Lawal of Zamfara State. Before the meeting went into closed door, the acting national chairman of the PDP, Umar Damagum, said they were at NEC to engage the commission on some pressing internal matters affecting the party, particularly those requiring its regulatory clarification. He explained that they had held a NEC meeting, but there was a decision to avoid controversy, adding that he has received INEC's reply urging the PDP to be guided by such rules. On his part, INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu said the Commission remains open to engagement with all registered political parties, reiterating its regulatory neutrality. He added that the correspondences naming Senator Samuel Anyanwu, Sunday Udeokoye, and Setonji Koshiode for the same position are inconsistent and call for clarity. Still politics, the Social Democratic Party has suspended with immediate effect its national chairman, Shehu Gambam, over alleged financial misconduct and misappropriation of party funds. Also suspended are the national auditor, Nandi Clarkson, and national youth leader, Chukwuma Uchechukwu, the party said, adding that the Independent National Electoral Commission and relevant agencies have been officially notified. In a statement, the National Publicity Secretary, Araba Ayinigba, said the suspended officials were linked to a series of unauthorized financial transactions, personal enrichment schemes, and diversion of funds without the National Working Committee's approval. According to him, Gambam had submitted an unauthorized financial statement to the Independent National Electoral Commission and published a summary in newspapers, thereby prompting the party to alert law enforcement agencies. The statement said the action reinforces the party's zero-tolerance stance and corruption. It added that for a thorough investigation, an interim panel has been set up to audit all financial records and recommend appropriate disciplinary or legal steps. Meanwhile, it stated that the Deputy National Chairman, Nos Sadiq Abakar, has been appointed as acting national chairman in line with the party's constitution. And now on to legal matters. Justice Rahman Oshodi of the Special Offences Court sitting in Ikeja has adjourned ruling on an application by the former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, seeking a forensic examination of WhatsApp messages admitted in evidence in his ongoing trial. Emefiele, through his counsel and senior advocate of Nigeria, Olalekan Ojo, had prayed to the court for leave to engage a forensic expert to examine both the mobile phone described as an iPhone 2 and the printed WhatsApp conversations extracted from it, which were rendered or tendered by the prosecution as evidence. However, EFCC's counsel Chinenye Okezie objected to the request, arguing that the defense had failed to meet the procedural requirements for such application. According to her, under the rules of evidence and practice, once an exhibit has been admitted by the court, it becomes the property of the court until the conclusion of the trial. The charges were brought by the EFCC. After listening to both counsels, Justice Oshodi adjourned until September 15, 2025 for ruling on the application. Still on litigations, the federal government will on October 7 arraign the chairman of Multi-Choice Nigeria Limited, Adewumi Ogunsoya, and the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, John Ugbe, over an alleged breach of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Act 2018. Justice James Omotosho fixed the date after the counsel to the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, Chizenum and Sitem, made the application due to the absence of the defendants in court. Others to be arraigned are 6 top officers of the pay TV company, including Chief Executive Officer of MultiChoice Africa Holdings, Fulufelu Badugela, Chief Financial Officer, Africa Retail Trump, and Group Executive for Corporate Affairs, Kibetsui Modimweng. When the matter was called on Tuesday, none of the defendants was in court due to improper service of the court documents, including the hearing notice. The prosecuting agency's lawyer then sought an adjournment to enable them to do the needful. Meanwhile, striking members of the Ondo State chapter of the Judiciary Staff Association Union of Nigeria have agreed to suspend their industrial action following a resolution meeting with the state government over their demand for full financial autonomy for the judiciary. The truce was reached 2 weeks after JUSN members commenced an indefinite strike that paralyzed court activities across all 18 local government areas of the state. Confirming the development, newsman, the chairman of Ondo chapter of JUSN, Oluwafemi Afolabi, said the union met with top government officials at the instance of Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa. He disclosed that the governor proposed the establishment of a committee to fast-track the implementation of judicial reforms. Well, in Oyo State, the House of Assembly has passed a motion advocating the integration of mental health education, counseling services, and structured support systems for schools in the state. It decried the alarming statistics and emotional struggles of students faced by depression, anxiety, bullying, and substance use. Co-sponsored by 4 lawmakers, the motion called for a sweeping reform of the school system's approach to mental health. The motion is titled Need to Integrate Mental Health Education, Counseling Services, and Structured Support Systems in primary and secondary schools in Oyo State. Presenting the motion, Olufunke Comforter Olajide cited recent findings of UNICEF that 1 in 6 Nigerian youths aged between 15 and 24 experience depression, lack of motivation, and anxiety. She described mental health as a vital aspect of students' well-being and academic performance, stating that unfortunately it had remained largely neglected. According to her, many children in primary and secondary schools face psychological struggles, including anxiety, depression, stress, substance use, and emotional trauma, among others. She listed critical factors influencing student mental well-being to include academic pressure, peer bullying, socioeconomic hardship, and family instability. Well, coming up after this short break, a world report, business, sports, and entertainment stories. Stay with us.
Good morning. It's the start of a beautiful day. Well, start your day right with a healthy dose of news, fun, and inspiration. Join us on VOP this morning for the latest news, trending topics, and uplifting stories to set your day on the right vibe. From news and current events to lifestyle and entertainment, you are covered.
VOP This Morning, 8 a.m., Monday through Friday.
We are the station that brings you stories from the people's perspective.
We let your voice be heard. On Political Lens, we bring you deeper insights into happenings within the polity.
We create equality of representative opinion and fairness in politics, economic and diverse conversations.
Here we bring you breaking news, fresh perspectives as well as fact-based analysis.
Watch our extraordinary shows.
Welcome back, everyone. On the foreign scene now, United States President Donald Trump has lashed out at Israel and Iran using an expletive as he accused both sides of violating the ceasefire. Israel says it has hit an Iranian raider but has refrained from further attacks after Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu spoke to Trump. Iran's president says Tehran will respect the truce provided Israel does not break it. The terms of the ceasefire remain unclear, and its status remains fragile but in place for now. Meanwhile, Trump was due to arrive at the North Atlantic Treaty Organization summit, where he would meet world leaders. While on Air Force One, the president shared a message from NATO chief Mark Rutte, which congratulated him for taking what the latter called a decisive action in Iran. In the meantime, Israeli forces' drones have reportedly killed over 80 Palestinians, including no fewer than 51 near aid distribution centers in the latest attacks on desperate people seeking aid in the besieged Gaza Strip. In Rafah alone, the south of the enclave, 27 aid seekers were reportedly gunned down by the Israeli military. The overall death toll from Israel's war has risen to 56,077 killed and 131,848 injured since October 7, 2023. The killings are the latest in a wave of daily massacres near aid distribution points established late last month by the controversial Israeli and United States-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. Head of the United Nations Agency for Palestinian Refugees has labeled the foundation a death trap. In another development, leaders of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization have arrived in The Hague, the Netherlands, for a summit aimed at securing peace in Europe for future generations. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz has hailed the summit as historic. It is United States President Donald Trump's first NATO summit since 2019, and all 32 leaders are set to commit to spending 5% of national output on defense and related infrastructure. Ahead of his arrival, NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte sent him a pre-summit message praising his handling of Western alliance and the conflict in Iran. Rutte wrote in a message posted by Trump on social media that Trump is flying into another big success in The Hague, adding that it was not easy, but that they have got all members signed onto 5%. He also congratulated Trump on what he described as his decisive action in Iran, which he said was truly extraordinary and something no one else dared to do. Rutte added that it makes the world safer. Western leaders have all had to navigate their relationships with Trump, known for his sometimes unpredictable handling of diplomacy. The two-day NATO summit has already been scaled back to accommodate Trump's schedule. Well, in Japan, a court has sentenced a United States Marine Lance Corporal, Jamal Clayton, to 7 years in prison after finding him guilty of sexually assaulting a woman in Okinawa last year. Clayton was said to have attacked the woman in her 20s, choking her from behind and attempting sexual intercourse. The case was one of a string involving U.S. servicemen based in the Okinawa archipelago, where over half of the 54,000 U.S. soldiers serving in Japan are based. Previous crimes committed by American personnel have sparked anger and protests by locals in Okinawa, the largest of which took place 30 years ago, when tens of thousands took to the street following the rape of a 12-year-old girl. And last year alone, there have been 4 sexual assault cases involving U.S. service members in Okinawa, including Air Force member Brennan Washington, who was given 5 years by a court in December 2024 for the rape and kidnap of an underage girl. Well, we move swiftly to business news now, as the Nigerian Ports Authority says it will invest 778.46 billion naira in 2025 in revitalizing critical port infrastructure and technology, among others. Disclosing this during a budget defense session with the House of Representatives Committee on Ports and Harbors, NPA Managing Director Abakar Dansoho said the amount is the capital expenditure projection in the 1.27 trillion naira revenue target for 2025. The total revenue target of 1.27 trillion naira, he said, represents a 40% increase from the 894.86 billion naira the agency realized in 2024. According to Dansoho, the capital budget focuses on areas including channel dredging for Calabar, Warri, and Burutu ports to enhance channel depth and towage services, as well as technology and compliance with international security conventions. Citing increasing competition from neighboring ports and aging assets across Nigeria's coastal corridors, Dansoho stressed that investments in infrastructure and technology are non-negotiable if the country is to stay competitive regionally and globally. He explained that the agency intends to address technology gaps by upgrading legacy systems and bolstering cybersecurity to ensure that Nigerian ports meet global standards for digital operations. Now, power sector operators and experts have raised concerns as some states assume responsibility for regulating electricity markets within their various domains. This followed the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission's recent revelation that 7 states now control their electricity markets in accordance with the Electricity Act 2023. The states are Enugu, Ondo, Ekiti, Imo, Oyo, Edo, and Kogi, as well as Lagos, Ogun, Niger, and Plateau, which are expected to complete their transitions between June and September. Anambra, having recently passed its electricity law, is also gearing up to join the list. Before President Bola Tinubu signed the new Electricity Act in 2023, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission was the only agency regulating electricity in Nigeria. Over now to sports news. Goalkeeper Stanley Nwabali says the Super Eagles still have a chance of qualifying for the 2026 World Cup to be co-hosted by the United States, Canada, and Mexico, in spite of their poor run in the qualifying series. The Super Eagles are 4th in their qualifying Group C with 7 points after 6 matches and 6 points behind South Africa, who lead the group with 13 points. The 3-time African champions began their campaign with 2 uncompromising draws against Lesotho and Zimbabwe in November 2023. Returning from their second-place finish at the 2023 AFCON in Côte d'Ivoire in February 2024, the team could not muster the needed results and played out another draw against South Africa in Uyo before being beaten 2-1 by Benin Republic in June 2024. Franco-Malian coach Agric took over in March and handled 2 more games, a 2-0 win against Rwanda in Kigali and a 1-1 draw against Zimbabwe at home, leaving the team on 7 points after 6 matches. Now, Paris Saint-Germain and Botafogo have secured their spots in the round of 16 of the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup after a dramatic final round of group stage matches played simultaneously on Monday. In a high-stakes encounter, PSG recorded a 2-0 victory over Major League Soccer champions Seattle Sounders to finish with 6 points. Atletico Madrid, in spite of defeating Botafogo 1-0 in their final group match, were eliminated due to inferior goal difference. The revamped FIFA Club World Cup sees the top 2 teams from each of the 8 groups progress to the round of 16, which will be held from June 28 to July 1. The teams already qualified include Bayern Munich of Germany, CR Flamengo of Brazil, Juventus of Italy, and Manchester City of England. Others are Botafogo of Brazil, Paris Saint-Germain of France, Palmeiras of Brazil, and United States, Inter Miami. 8 more teams will join them in the coming days as the group stage wraps up. Still sports news, Lazio winger Pedro has supported Barcelona's Pedri in the race for the 2025 Ballon d'Or, overlooking high-profile contenders like Lamine Yamal and PSG's Ousmane Dembele. In an interview, the former Chelsea and Barcelona star stated that Pedri deserves the prestigious award following his outstanding 2024-2025 season with Barcelona. He said it will be Pedri, then Yamal, and perhaps Dembele or Rafinha, adding that for him there is no doubt that Pedri is the best in his position in the entire world. Pedri will be up against strong competition for the Ballon d'Or, including teammates Rafinha and Yamal, as well as other top players like Mohamed Salah and Dembele. Well, entertainment news now. A fresh twist has emerged in the ongoing paternity dispute between popular socialite Pascal Okechukwu, popularly known as Cubana chief priest, and his alleged Kenyan baby mama, Helen Ati, as the socialite has filed a lawsuit against her. The legal action comes as Ati continues to demand a DNA test to confirm if Cubana chief priest is the father of her child. In the suit filed by his legal representatives at a Kenyan magistrate court, Cubana chief priest seeks a temporary injunction restraining Ati and her associates from publishing or spreading any defamatory content about him. Meanwhile, Ati is yet to publicly address the lawsuit. Elsewhere, American rapper Cardi B has finally announced her long-awaited second album titled Am I the Drama? The album, coming 7 years after her groundbreaking debut with Invasion of Privacy, will drop on September 19. Cardi also unveiled the project's distinctive artwork, which features her in an elaborate red dress surrounded by 2 crows. The rapper had previously intimated that she was waiting on several features before the album was finished. And it's a wrap on News Hour. Before we go, a quick look at the headlines. We told you that Tinubu says Wike is opening Abuja for businesses and housing as well as investment. Also, Shettima commends Nigeria-Brazil $1 billion Agric deal and strategic alliance. The Senate extends implementation till December. An article questions Tinubu's claim on Chicago schoolmate. CDS decries lack of a national census and urges city-driven figures. On the foreign scene, Israel-Iran truce likely after Trump's outburst. In business, MPA to spend 778.46 billion naira on port infrastructure and technology. In sports news, Nwabali upbeat about Eagles World Cup chances. In entertainment, Cubana chief priest drags Helen Ati to court. Do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. On YouTube, we are Voice of the People TV. On other social media platforms, we are at VOP TV Live. I am Vivian Oguche, and thank you for watching.